People's creativity never ceases to amaze me. And one of the things that I love about my job is I just never know what I'm going to find next. And that's exactly what's happened today, where we've discovered a little yellow submarine in the forest. G'day Keith, how's it going, mate?
Hello Bryce, great to meet you.
It is great to meet you, and I am so excited to check out this incredible creation of yours. First of all, what on earth inspired you to build a submarine in your backyard?
Gosh, sitting in a yellow cafe in Wellington, a pokey little yellow cafe, and I just said out loud, I think I'm going to build a yellow submarine. And the kids said, keep it down Dad, you're embarrassing us. Then 6 months later, Jen found some bits on Trade Me and an old grain silo, and that was the start of it.
Well, I was just driving home from work this day and I saw a silo and I thought, wow, that looks like the shape of a submarine could be. So I came home and I said to Keith, hey, what about a silo? And he said, yeah, that's the one. So went on Trade Me and found this one for $1. So we brought it back and it sat out in the back paddock for a little while before Keith decided what he would like to do with it.
Building something like this must have been quite an adventure. Can you tell me a little bit about how you actually put all of this together?
Partly my Scottish heritage. I don't like to waste anything, so I had a lot of stuff lying around. Yeah, I've always had a mechanical bent. I have a radio technician background and yeah, fairly used to recycling things. You'll recognise bits and pieces on here, for instance. That's a radome off a telecom microwave dish. There's another parabolic dish underneath the submarine and another radome on the front entrance hatch, a spar pull on top, the silo there, extractor fan at the back, bits off solar panels, bits off sky satellite dish mounts, just bits lying around.
Wow.
We can't possibly throw away because they might be of use one day.
And they certainly have been put to use here. So the front portion here was constructed out of an old grain silo, and obviously you've used all of these other fun parts like the radar dishes. Can you talk to me about the process of actually putting all this together and how you even envisioned this in the first place?
I guess it was just a matter of returning to my childhood to get inspiration, really. It basically took about 3 months to figure out how to actually make it all work, join it together. I knew what I was going to do with the silo part, the back part, but it was like the front part was very awkward because how do you keep the feel of a submarine? The front bit, I had to get a rounded effect, but I was using boxy plywood, so the way to make it round was have the radomes to give it a bit more curvature and a few other tricks to round it off. Yeah, so there was no plan, it was just sort of fudge it as we go. You know, it gradually took shape over a long period of time, yeah, but it was a very enjoyable year off doing it, really.
And of course, it is a little yellow submarine, so I'm guessing you've got to be a Beatles fan?
Well, that was only part of it because there were so many themes that we wanted to incorporate, like Beatles was obviously one of them. There's 3 other themes too. There's Cold War Soviet theme, U-boat theme, North Atlantic in 1942, and steampunk submarine. And of course it had to be yellow.
Of course it did. And it's funny because situated here, I mean, obviously this is the last place that you would expect to see a little yellow submarine, isn't it?
I remember Jen saying that, my wife, but it's sitting in a sea of green, just like the lyrics, Yellow Submarine.
Very true, it is. And you run this as a B&B, don't you?
Yes, the B&B thing started when I built a colonial tiny house, and it was for me, and then my kids put it online, took some pictures, and I said, what's Airbnb? And they said, don't worry, Dad. Next thing you know, we've got people turning up at the front door. The most interesting people from all over the place. It's been fascinating.
Well, from the outside, this just looks like so much fun, and I cannot wait to see what you've done inside. Should we take a look?
Let's open the front hatch.
Let's do it.
Of course, having the slow rising front hatch, it just increases the anticipation and anxiety for our new crew coming on board.
It certainly does.
Okay, the hatch is now open. Welcome aboard, Bryce.
Let's step on board. this is incredible. You have really completed the theme in here, haven't you?
Thanks, Bryce. Yeah, it's been fun all the way.
I bet it has. We've even got old Captain John over here, I see.
Yeah, I wanted a Untersee boat commandant, but Jen said no, we need John Lennon.
Right, oh, and I bet he's scared a few guests.
Oh, sure has.
And immediately upon entering here, you can see how much time and effort you have put into finding all of these little treasures to put in here. I see you've even got an old dive helmet there.
Yeah, it took a while to find that. That's a genuine US Navy Divers Mark V antique helmet. At least it would be if it wasn't a brilliant knockoff from India.
And it's amazing what you've created here, because you can see that obviously it's all in the submarine theme, and yet completely practical at the same time. Like, you've got this fantastic galley kitchen here, you've got a really comfortable couch, a desk. It's a functional home as well as being this incredible whimsical structure, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess I learnt a lot building my first tiny house, and it just sort of made me think, well, you've got to have a couch, you've got to have a kitchenette, you've got to have somewhere to lie down, and make everything fit.
So first of all, can you talk to me about the kitchen space that you've created here?
Yeah, that's an old dressing table from a second-hand shop, and a sink just plonked in the middle, a few new catches to make it nautical. The backing there is what we used to have round telecom poles to stop possums climbing up. It's a bit of old copper which was round a pole.
Great.
Basically, it's all done on the cheap. It's all recycled material.
And then moving over here, super comfortable looking couch.
Yeah, that's the Chesterfield couch, in keeping with the steampunk Victorian submarine feel. And there's an old oak bed head which we've fashioned into a table. Yeah, so it's the woodsy Victorian feel in this part of the submarine with a little bit of steampunk.
It certainly is. And I mean, what you've done to create all of this, the theme just carries through everywhere, and you've found so many little incredible bits and bobs to create the character in here. Can you just talk to me a little bit about sourcing all of these things? Because each and every one of these treasures must have a bit of a story behind it.
Absolutely, yeah. Like, this is an old switchboard box, and it's now the intercom to call the host should you get stuck on the bottom. Old steam gauges, bits of old pumps lying around the farm, lots of imported stuff also off Trademe, our second-hand site, and eBay. Bits from all around the world, really, but usually acquired on the cheap.
And then over here we've got the captain's desk, and I see you've even got a parrot in the corner there.
Yeah, that's our tribute to a Monty Python skit, the dead parrot. Everyone needs a canary in the coal mine. Absolutely,
although it's tricky if your parrot's already dead though, isn't it?
Hey, but who's to know?
And then what do we have behind us here?
We have Captain and Chief Engineer's cruise quarters.
The cruise quarters. Great that you've managed to get a double bunk here as well.
Yeah, tricky, but we've got two double beds, yes, which is very unusual for submarines.
I am sure it is. Definitely a little bit of luxury there. This whole space just feels really, really neat, doesn't it? I can just imagine what it would be like to hunker down in here and then actually to wake up in the middle of the night and realize that you're in a submarine.
Yeah, it's all about the feel. We've got the American propaganda poster here, join the submarine service and save damsels in distress.
Ah, who could resist?
Or the donate to the U-boat service and freeze your butt off in the North Atlantic.
Not such a great propaganda poster, that one, was it?
Yes, well, I think the Americans were exaggerating.
They might have won that round, I think, you're right. And then behind us here, I see we've got the cruise bathroom. Should we take a look in there?
Yeah, that's the pointy end of the ship.
Oh, this is brilliant. It's definitely a very awkward shape to work with here, but you've still managed to fit everything into the bathroom, haven't you?
Yes, you can fit anything in a sardine tin if you try.
I believe you. I see you've even got the emergency escape hatch here.
Yes, remember to check the instructions. They're in U-boat language.
Just to make sure they're completely unreadable.
Absolutely. Blind panic is an essential ingredient.
Just to keep with the theme, I love it.
Yeah.
And then can you tell me a little bit about what you've done in here? Because this shower looks really unique. What's this actually made out of?
That's half a plastic suitcase, ABS plastic.
No way.
Yes, and the other half is in our tiny house from the first build, so we didn't waste the other half of the suitcase.
You certainly did not. That is very clever. And when it comes to things like power, water, services here, How does that all work?
We've got mains power, which is fed externally. We also have 12-volt backup, which supplies the auxiliary stuff like marine toilet, front opening hatch, and auxiliary lights.
Brilliant. What about the hot water heater?
That's a small high-pressure hot water cylinder, and that gives you a shower for about 5 minutes.
All you need.
Yes.
And I see we've still got one more treasure waiting for us upstairs. Shall we check that out?
Oh yes, the control turret.
Let's have a look.
Through the crew's quarters into the control tower area.
The control tower area. Should we have a look up here?
Yes, officers only, but we'll make allowances.
Oh, this is so cool. Got the old captain's chair, and this is where you can see you've got the spa tub.
Yeah, well, it was just lying around. It had a big crack in it. It was useless. So where the jets were is now where we have portholes.
That is just so clever. And it actually perfectly fits the theme, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's, well, you've got to have a control tower somewhere, and of course you need a captain's chair.
You certainly do. So where on earth did you actually find all of these little treasures? Like, what is all this contraption here?
That's old microwave link analyzer telecom equipment from my previous life.
Wow.
It's an analog world.
Everywhere I look here, there's just so much creativity and so much imagination which has been poured into this build. You must have a tremendous sense of accomplishment wrapped up in this place.
I guess in the end it was just relief that it actually worked. We had absolutely no idea it was going to work, but it's a funny thing about whimsical spaces. People can just make their own theme up and go for it.
When you're walking through your backyard now, and when you come across this structure and see it, what does that feel like?
It just feels like I've got a big toy in the backyard that I can return to my childhood any time.
You certainly can. I really love that. So obviously, you have been so thrifty with the use of all of these materials to actually create this space. Can you tell me a little bit about the cost that was involved in building it?
Yeah, it started off with a fiberglass grain silo for $1. Now it's ended up being $20,000 and a piece of magic in the backyard.
It just seems unreal to see this yellow submarine sitting in our driveway, and it's just so different, and yeah, I love it. It's amazing really that we created this.
All we're doing here is just creating a theme for people, which presses buttons for people when they come here, and it's different things for different people. It's really uncanny reading the guest book comments, which are done as a captain's logbook. People fighting off undersea creatures and doing the 20,000 leagues under the sea. And you can be anything you want, and kids become adults, and we become kids again. And it's just refreshing to see the look and reactions on people's faces and the comments they make, and that's really makes it for us.
Keith, this place is just wonderful. Being in a space like this, you cannot help but to smile, and it just feels so fun. Thank you so much for sharing it with me.
Cheers, mate.
There's no question about it. What Keith has created here in this submarine is just an immense amount of fun. Absolutely everywhere you look, there's something to capture your imagination. He talks about this as being a place where you can really revert to your childhood, and that is exactly what's happening for me right now. And so, close the hatches. It's time to dive.